right? But I find that when I share music by this brother to other people, it works for them too. So
Okay.
just to, sometimes word of mouth goes a long way,
Yeah.
because you can put an artist in a box so easily with your Ulelu. Ulelu kaloku man uyamazi is one of those girls who rap about those things. Ukuba ungazazi, but then
Yeah.
but really what she's
Yeah.
what your music really is about is something totally different from that. So Lelu, we are joined by Epic the scriptwriter. Ep, what's going on, family?
What's up?
All right, I'm already here. Hello.
Yeah, man, you're right on time, man, and we got you right where we want you in the hot seat. Brother,
Yeah. Red
welcome,
seat. Yeah.
welcome to
Thank
the
you very much,
program,
sir.
man. It's 11 minutes after 8 p.m. on the very first program of the Fifth Element, one of many. But today you are
Well
definitely,
done.
thanks, man. Thank you, brother.
Well done.
And
Well done.
we
I've been
we
listening.
we we want you to know that it was very deliberate having you on as one of the guests to join us as well, given the
Yeah.
fact that besides the fact that you've got a project, it's also a very personal project for you, one that speaks to your identity, one that speaks to your whole background, and it's got a lot of really personal tales. So I think it will go hand in hand with the kind of information that Osmic was talking about when he was talking about how the industry evolved and everything, to now making it personal about Nangamso and his own journey with that same kind of process going through it. So I think maybe I'll hand over to Lelu. She wants to ask you a bit about some of your process putting the project together.
Hello, Lelu.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
We're good, thank you. Very excited. Show you to your Kala Fifth Element.
I know. Well, it's so smooth. It sounds like it's been going on forever. I'm like, oh, this feels like
Yeah.
a show that's been going on. Well done, guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So tell us, yintoni ekwenze to decide to make this about you. Okanye yintoni abantu bufuna bayazi when you sat and thought, no, let me make this project about me.
I think there was a build up to the way. I think there was for the longest time we tried to do music, and it doesn't always just come up as us, because everyone tells you this is what you need to do to sell. Especially in South Africa, we get a lot of pressure from the States as well. You get a lot of pressure from other countries that tell us this is what hip hop is going on, so we have to move with whatever the process is that other people are doing. And I felt probably the only way to stand out as me, especially from the Eastern Cape, with such limited resources that we have in terms of media, is always find a way to stand out as personally as possible. So, I mean, you can always have a lot of Kendricks or a lot of Drakes or a lot of whatever, but the trick was to always try to find that unique, what is my voice? So the stories will be about the village. So the stories will be about, what we are called, or what South Africans are dealing with, and then becomes more personal. It becomes an album that's just a bit more than just another hip hop album you can stream online. And I'm hoping that people will gravitate to it a bit more. Oh. Sis, I think your mic is muted. I can't hear you from my side.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. I hear you now.
All right, cool. I was asking for abantu that want to actually listen to your music. Mhlawumbe umuntu uzawuthi ngoku, you know what, ngoku basebhizi nale interview, let me just go and check
Find
umculo
something.
wakhe uba where yeah, ubana kanye nje bethetha nje uthetha le liyo, you know.
I'm like, yeah, and who know if interviews busy on. It's available on. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. It's on all those other platforms. But you can also stream it on YouTube if you want. So we're finding different means. I don't know, like getting into like more, because I've also realized that it's important to also understand the country we're working with. So there's a lot of people who don't actually have access to those kind of platforms. So it gets tricky because you think you're making it major to everyone else. But for now, unfortunately, it's available on all the streaming platforms. So if you're on Spotify, if you're on iTunes, if you can get a hold of any form of, like, I don't know, if you're connected to the internet, and you can find Nangamso. So the project is available anywhere there.
That's cool.
So sticking to, you know, the personal element and the and you know the signature touch that you've put into this project, when I Epic. um what has it taken to put this project together for you? You know, leave the
Uh,
resources alone. We know that resources are
yeah,
limited.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We operate under such a thing that we don't even discuss that in the Eastern
yeah,
Cape
yeah, yeah, yeah,
anymore.
yeah. It's part and
We,
it's
we,
part and parcel.
we will revisit it one day, but for
Yeah,
now
yeah, yeah.
we are more about, you know, what did it take out of you to put into this project in order to make it what it is? Because I mean, periodically we had been in touch, you know, to talk about, you know, your progress on this, and I could tell this is really draining. It's taken a lot out of you. There's a lot of things you wanted to keep chopping and changing it, and there's a lot where you have to stop yourself and say, but this is it.
Yes, yes, yes,
This
yes,
really
yes,
is
yes.
it. Like this at in the
Yeah,
emotion, you know. So
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
us. Talk about that process with us, and maybe share for some people who are maybe putting projects together but have been tweaking forever now, you know, and touching up their way. You know, I think
Mm.
maybe now is the time to start teaching people when to stop as well. You know.
Mm. I think true as like the biggest thing for me was realizing the hardest thing is being an honest human, because it's outside the arts thing now. Just being a person who's an honest person is a hard thing, and especially in this world we're living in. So
Yay.
let's say like people like such as myself and you, I know that we know how to do rhyme structures, we know how to write at this point. So now what
Right.
comes after that? The hardest part now is I find in the greatest artists as well is being able to tap into your who you truly are, because
Mm.
it's always easier to write from a hero perspective, or it's always
Mm.
easier to write from a victim perspective. But how about just gathering all those things about how you can be a douchebag, how you can be a good man the next day, how you can be this. So I think when writing this project, I had to tap into all these sides that I'm just like, this is not a nice thing for me to accept, but this is fact. So when
Sure.
you write it, you look at it from, it's not about the song just sounding good, but like what am I tapping into in terms of myself to kind of like
Mm.
come up as myself? Because I think that's the hardest part. I mean, there's even things that I'm still not cracking now. I remember on Green, I wrote a song called "Feel Good Man" about my pops, and I was like, I couldn't go too much into detail because you don't wanna write. No one wants to feel too exposed. As much as honest as we all
Sure.
claim to be,
Sure.
as honest
Sure.
as we all claim to be, there's always a line of how exposed you want to be. And I think
Yeah.
what I'm trying to break down is that barrier of where do I stop feeling like, oh, that's too much, you can't say that. Because to be honest, I think the good music comes from going that too much route. That's saying that thing like, I looked at my penis this morning, I wasn't too happy. Like it could be
Sure.
anything, but it's something that just makes you feel like this is like something I feel, this is my thinking, this is my process.
Something that may make it seem like you are being exposed at the moment, only to realize that you're actually being empowered by
Empowered.
getting rid of
Oh,
it.
that's that's a beautiful way to put. Oh, that's a beautiful phrasing. Because and when you expose that thing, it stops having power over you. And I
That's
think
it.
that's when art becomes art. That's when art becomes, because we can all say we're doing art, but if you're not being honest in your art, are you really doing art, or are you just mimicking a form of art that you've seen being replayed over and
Mhm.
over and over again, and you feel I
It-
enjoy that, so I'll do something just like that. It only
it's
becomes you when it breaks that, exactly what you say, when you break that
if
down, and then it becomes therapy.
if you remember, when Eminem came with the Slim Shady LP,
Mm.
and everyone was like, "This is insane! Like, who does
Yeah, yeah,
this?"
yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
But
yeah. Why would you say this?
for the next 3 years, that's when people started dissing their own family members on tracks and started calling out their brothers and sisters who didn't treat them well, who, your absent father, you wrote an open letter to him on your things of that nature. But
Because there was a divide.
you were
There was
just
a
saying how
divide between the
crazy.
artist and the music. There was a
Exactly, and you were
divide
just
between the
saying,
artist and the music. So you get into studio and be like, let me forget about what's happening at home. Now it's time to be a rapper. Then you get in
let me,
there. What up,
there
bitches?
we
I've been
go.
cooking. This is, you know what I mean? Then you step outside like, you been playing the album, mama. You playing the album, mama. And then you're like, there's a divide here. There's something wrong.
Absolutely.
We gotta break that wall down.
You see what I'm saying? And then
Mm,
And I use Eminem as this reference because I think his contribution to that part of the thinking was a really genius move that I don't even think he might have done deliberately. But I mean, looking at,
I don't think he had a choice. I don't think he had a choice.
No, because also remember he was really going through it at the time too. So there wasn't much he had a different outlet to. But I remember when he started getting a grip on, you know, the impact that he had made, the kind of money that he was making, the kind of influence that he had in the industry. And then, you know, family members start suing him and his mom jumps on it as well. And what. And then his knee-jerk reaction was like, well, if you want to sue me, then I'm going to write another song about you.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I look back to that song without me. I don't say hello, my lawsuits. F you, Debbie. That's brilliant. That was like, that's going back to, I'm going to use this weakness, this crush that you like fed me, and I'm going to use it to make this music go even further, you know?
Exactly.
And I think as a white guy, especially, had he come through being a normal rap, I think that's a lesson we could all learn outside the color thing now. Had he come through being like every other rapper, we would have easily been like, oh, there you go again, trying to be black. So he already knew that I can't be anything close to any of this. I need to be as natural as possible to even get anyone to gravitate towards what I'm doing. So when he went to write, it was never about what the next person is writing. And I think that lesson is a lot of rappers like your Joyner Lucas's, your Kendrick Lamar's, your J. Cole's. I think they've adapted that same concept about like, you know what, for longevity, for anything to last for me, I need to make sure that I do not gravitate towards whatever is happening out there, but focus on what's happening in my head. You know what I mean? Exactly. Kendrick can go and write about his depression, and you seem like, oh my God, look at this new car, new chain. What's going on? What's going on? I'm depressed, though. You know?
Yeah, you know.
Depressed, though. You know. So I think it's a beautiful place, and I wish we have these conversations off air quite often. Yeah. And how South Africa has got so much talent, and I think to some degree we've got so much pressure because the hip hop scene is here, you know, it's here.
Yes,
so
sir.
we've got so much pressure to try like who's hot now. Okay, we gotta kind of like gravitate towards that sound. Oh, Skanda's doing this now. Okay, let's all do a bit of Skanda in our beats. Oh, what's happening now? Oh, we're trapping again. Okay, let's go trap here. But like, I feel like if our stories were told, I don't think anyone in the world could tell South African stories because our stories are too. It's too wide.
And
it's too diverse.
We've got so much happening in a space of, let's say, 50 kilometers radius here, that the stories would never be the same if we told our truths, you know.
I mean, every province is different.
We somehow go and find the one story or the one storyline that we all think we should speak about. And now the rest of the country is bottlenecking onto this.
I'm going to go a bit far. How are we still shooting videos by the pool? How many of us have pools? Let's talk about these pools that we still doing. Like, how are we still doing pool videos in 2021? We don't have pools like that.
And even if we do, we're still not swimming there. That's the other thing. We still at poolside. We're still at poolside.
Dressed in a suit.
How are you in a 3-piece suit at poolside? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Because you've never been to a pool party.
You guys are roasting now.
Because you've never been to a pool party, but like, you know, I saw this happen a few times. I'm gonna do it too. I know a friend with a pool.
Man. Listen, I swear, and you know what? I don't know whether to speak to the videographers or to speak to the artists or a combination of both. But guys, when we do storyboards, we really need to like apply ourselves. This is not on anymore. We cannot shoot the same music video 10 times.
Sorry.
For 20 years in a row.
Definitely. They're great. They can shoot because the way they shoot, you can tell that okay, the skill is there. It's just now the stories could.
I mean, we've got guys fresh from AFDA and AAA and all these places.
We've got them.
Of superb skills and talents and equipment that is there. We can't still be shooting.
We're not in that talent.
No.
No.
We've got
drones.
Like
an easy thing. Like we got drones. You know what I mean? Like It's like, I've got this song about growing up at home. What do you think we should do with it? Let's shoot it by the pool. Oh, okay, that works for you. It's like, why?
I think if I get a couple of girls, and they sit there and some renter champagne, I think it'll spread the message of how I grew up. No, it won't, bro.
The one in the song represents my mother's hardship.
I'm telling you, man, it gets a bit ridiculous. Look, we joke, man. Lelu, we joke. Yeah. But this is far from as hilarious as we might make it, because in reality, it speaks to a certain fear. And it goes back to exactly what you were saying, Epic, about writing to an alternate reality than the one that you are living in. You know exactly what you should be writing about, but for some reason, it's inconvenient to write about that truth.
It's inconvenient. There's a hero complex. I realized this. I picked this up like 2 years ago with a South African mainstream artist. I was like, there's a hero complex here, and I was like, I need to find a way to escape this. Everyone wants to be the man, okay?
Yeah.
And then we find out what happened in their lives. Let's not mention things, but let's say somebody had a situation in a hotel. It doesn't matter. Okay, that's not the point.
Right.
The point is something happens, and you're like, there's so much happening in your life, but you're not showing us in your music. The music it's almost separate from your life. So when you go into studio, you just like, I'm doing this December hit for these people. But what happens to me, I'm like, how do you now connect these two as art? How do you find therapy? How do you heal from writing? If every time you step into something, you feel like, I can't tap into that. I'm not ready to tap into that mess. That's too much for me. It's so much easier to get a girl in a thong and put her by the poolside, and they'll say I'm making money, and then we don't have to discuss anything. And then these conversations don't happen. And then the interviews remain the same as well, because now why do you ask someone who's got 10 pool party videos? You got no questions for them, because it's like, oh well, how's the new pool?
So I see the vixens have evolved. You're using.
I like the fact that you're using more black vixens. They more just now. You're going with the Black Lives Matter movement, aren't you?
It's very, very representative. Man. So is this okay? I hate saying things like most heartfelt, but is this one of those projects which satisfied you before any of us heard it?
Definitely. Like I still listen to it, and that's and I know, like, from a writer as well, I know it's always a growing thing when you get to the point of being comfortable to listen to yourself, like it doesn't matter, even if the streets say, oh, that's hard, you're still like, I could have done that. But I think with this one, it's so personal that I can't reference the streets, I can't reference the labels, I can't reference so and so at the board. I just need to go back to myself, but like, did you enjoy speaking that story? Because it's your story, I mean, who's gonna tell you wrote the story wrong? Who's gonna tell you wrote your story wrong? I don't know if you woke up in that bed, man. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That doesn't sound like your bicycle, Epic.
That doesn't sound like your bicycle. You know what I mean? Because then it becomes totally yours. Then no one else can come in and be like, oh, that pool is just too shallow for my liking. You just gotta keep your thing going, and then it goes on that way.
So a little birdie told me that there is a possibility of one-man show, full-on performance of this Nangamso album that we might be looking at hearing in the coming year. Is that is that accurate, or is that something you can speak a little bit about?
No, definitely. I've had conversation with someone, my favorite musicians, who I feel like could execute. The musicians I feel like could execute this so well, and I want to put together something that still sounds like you can bang to it as hip hop, but still give it a live element to incorporate. Because also what I tried to do with this album was incorporate different aspects of there's a lot of vocalists for one.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of vocalists. So try to kind of to make sure that I didn't listen to hip hop until 10 or something like that. So there was a space when we grew up with like your Brenda Fassie or Elton John or whatever it is playing in the house. So those
or the
radio,
the radio,
or the radio, you know, the reggae that you kept on playing. So those influences, at some point when you're making an album, we can't fully just throw them out and be like, you know, I was on Ice-T from the very beginning. I came out the womb on Ice-T. You know, like, because so I try to like put that. So like even with the band thing, I want to make sure that, like,
I was a cop killer, sir. That's what I was doing from the age of 10.
That's why the doctor spanked me on my way out. Oh, like, this is a naughty boy. This is
a naughty boy,
ain't it?
Stop that! Stop that!
Stop that! That'll be all. That'll be all.
Oh man, listen. So much coming, I guess, in the following year, and Nangamso, a very personal project, Epic the Scriptwriter, follow-up project, of course, to the Green Album. That was 2019, right?
That was 2019, 2018, 2019, yes.
Yeah. And the Green Album, still one of those that if you play from track 1, I would find it very difficult to understand why somebody would skip anything there, because it's a theme.
And graced by grand men at that as well. The Green Album, I think, was the start of that growth, you know, understanding of just like, you know, grow towards more being whatever you are, you know. Don't go for the guys who will say go for only, just go for the people that you feel go do the stuff that you want to do. Let's keep it at that. And I think it will translate over time. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping it will translate over time, exactly what in my head is playing out, and over time I can get it to translate to people and be like, oh, okay, it makes sense now.
What do you want people to take from the Nangamso album that they haven't heard the album yet, but as they're going to listen to it now going forward, that's what they're actually it's going to jump out at them? What is it that you want to stick with people way after they finished listening to the project?
First of all, I want the writers to go scrape every lie that they have on whatever I've written. I'm kidding. It has to be like it has to be like an emotion. Like I want it to be like I feel like a lot of people can relate to a lot of the songs.
Yeah.
You know, like Village Bicycle, for example, is a song that a lot of people said, I relate to that. And the stories are different. The how can I put it? The objects may be different, but the stories are the same. You know, like it may not be a Village Bicycle to you. It may be a car to you. It may be a toy to you. It may be a doll to someone else. But like the stories are still something that someone can take something from and be like, oh man, this kind of like makes sense in my life. And I think it's just painting a picture that is growth. And I hope people see my growth, and I hope people can go back to my stuff before and, I don't know, appreciate or see the growth, and kind of like also like reflect back on their own lives and try to like I don't know, bro, you know what, I don't know, but like this definitely something.
I don't know, man. Just listen to it, man.
Listen to it, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It's an album. It's out. It's an album. It's out.
I don't know what to tell you, dude. Just cop the album.
Just cop the album. I don't know what to tell you. It's out. It's out. It's me. It's us. It's us.
Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Epic the Scriptwriter, with a brand new project called Nangamso. So available on all the streaming platforms.
Yes, sir. Yes,
all
sir.
right. So I don't need to tell you which those are. Just type Epic the Scriptwriter or Nangamso or both. And you.
But it's Spotify, it's iTunes, I'm kidding.
But I bet you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
It's not on Slicker.
I've got Village Bicycle on Slicker.
Nice. Well, since you're so adamant on that track, intro the track before you leave.
Oh, thank you. This is a track I wrote about. I think the first thing me and my father had a complex relationship, but one thing that he bought me that I remember very well was a bicycle, and I was very good at riding the bike. And I grew up in a very complex way by like I had home, Ekasi, you'd go to school somewhere else, you'd stay a bit down, and then but like you go home to the village. So you're trying to adapt, trying to like fit in all these spaces. And that was the thing that I had, that I felt like if I go into any circle, it's like rap music. When you go into other circles, even if you don't know each other, when you've got rap, you can go into a colored hood, you could go to Motherwell, you can go into the Birds. And if you can relate on music, you will all have a good conversation. So that bike for me was my rap music at the time.
Man.
And this is the story about that.
That's dope, brother. Thanks a lot, man. Epic, the Scriptwriter project. Nangamso out now. The Village Bicycle.
Thank you, Lelu. Thank you.
Loop.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
King.
you.
We are extraterrestrial. We are KNR. You're listening to the sound.
Sound good together, huh?
On KNR.